Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the case of Asha Degree. Asha Jaquilla Degree is a young girl who was born in Shelby, North Carolina. She was born on August the 5th, 1990. On early hours of February the 14th, Valentine's Day, she got up in the middle of the night, packed her bags, and fled her family home. She hasn't been seen in 17 years. Asha's parents, Harold and Aquila, were actually married on Valentine's Day in 1988. Asha was born 2 years later. They also have a son called O'Brien who shares a room with Asha. They raised both children in their family home in North Carolina. Asha was in 4th grade at nearby Fullerton Elementary School. Their parents expected them to be finished with their homework by the time they got home, so usually Asha wouldn't really be doing much. She didn't really have a big connection with the outside world. She would always just come straight home after school and finish off her homework or colour in or do just any typical thing. They didn't have a TV, they didn't have computers or phones. They were quite a strict family. They went to church on Sundays, they had the usual routine, and yeah, the parents were quite strict and they made sure that there weren't any outside influences. The Cleveland County schools were closed on Friday. While Asha's parents still had work that day, the children spent the day at their aunt's house. From their auntie's house on the Friday, the kids both went to the youth basketball game and Asha was point guard in her team. Her team lost its first game of the season, so Asha was quite upset and she was seen crying with a bunch of her friends. Although she did seem quite upset, it was reported that moments later when her brother played, she was completely fine and she watched his games. So I feel like when you're around that age range, yeah, you get upset with things, like just typical things, and then all of a sudden like you kind of don't really care 2 minutes later, like it's not really that important. So a lot of people think, oh, that's the reason why she left, but I personally think, why would she leave over losing a basketball game? Like, it just doesn't sound realistic. She's a young kid, of course she's going to get upset for losing a game, but she was fine moments later and she was watching her brother's game, but you never know really. So the rest of their day went as expected. On the Sunday, February 13th, the kids went to church. After that, they returned home. Harold ended up having a afternoon shift, so the kids were home. Around 8 p.m. that night, both children went to bed. They both shared a room together. Almost 1 hour later, the power went out because apparently there was a car crash in the street, but from a few of the articles I've read, there's been like different stories. People are saying that the power went out because of the huge raging thunderstorm outside, and then others are saying the power went out because there was a car crash, but I feel like it's probably because of both. Like there was a car crash in the rain, so that could be why. And apparently the power didn't come back until an hour-ish after Harold came home, and that was around 12. So around the time he did get home, around 12:30, he went and checked on both of his children. They were both fast asleep in their beds. He checked again shortly afterwards, around 2:30, which was the time that he decided to go to bed. Now usually when you are working a night shift, it kind of takes you a little bit to wind down, so that kind of makes sense that he did go to bed so late. So shortly afterwards, O'Brien recalls Asha tossing and turning in her bed. O'Brien just assumed that Asha was merely changing positions in her sleep, so he didn't think much of it. Apparently around this time, that is when Asha got up, packed her book bag and left the house for good.
Sometime during the night she gets up
and packed her regular school bag, put clothes in it.
She walks out of the house and heads down 18 south.
In her book bag, she had several sets of specific clothing items. She also had a photo with her family in it, so a few personal items as well. Between 3:45 and 4:15, 2 drivers saw her walking up Highway 18, and that's south from her house. Several passing motorists saw her but didn't call the authorities, which I find really strange. This one guy, he only spoke out because he saw her case on the news. So what he did was he told the authorities, and he said that he circled her 3 times because she was walking up along Highway 18 in pitch black. It was a raging thunderstorm. He circled her 3 times, and by the 3rd time she ran into the woods.
Several people say that they see her, but no one stops to make sure she's okay.
Now, I don't understand why you would circle a young girl 3 times. If it is 3:15 a.m, that was the time she left. If you see a young girl on the highway in torrential rain, wouldn't you stop the first time and like question why is this happening? Asha was very shy. She also was very terrified of dogs, so it just doesn't add up to why she would walk out in torrential rain. I feel like she may have been groomed by someone. I don't know, maybe someone she knew, someone the family knew. I'm not too sure, because I just don't understand why she would just leave her house and go for a walk up along the highway. Although one thing is, at primary school, her and her classmates were reading a book called The Whipping Boy, and it was a book about a bunch of kids going on an adventure, and they left their home but they returned. So a lot of people think that that is why she did it. Aquila woke up around 5:45 a.m. She went to run a bath for both of the kids because she usually gets up early to get them ready for school. So she went to run the bath, and she went to go into the room, and she saw O'Brien fast asleep, and she didn't see Asha. So at this time she was starting to freak out a little bit. She searched the house. She went into Harold's room, and Harold suggested that Asha might have gone to his mother's house across the street. But when Aquila called, Asha was not there. So she started going out to the neighborhood, and this is when she really started to panic. She woke up the neighborhood around 7:15, and everyone was starting to be aware of what's happening. So a lot of people started getting involved. Sniffer dogs and policemen, authorities, they all came over, and apparently they couldn't pick up the smell because of the rain from the night before. But I'm pretty sure that when it's been raining, it is more prominent to smell, so I don't really understand that. By day's end, all they had found was a mitten, and Aquila said that it was not Asha's. So it was quite a long day without any hope of finding her daughter. So after her case got onto the local news, that is when the witnesses decided to reach out to the family and tell them that they saw her walking up Highway 18 in a full white outfit and her book bag. On February 17th, 2 days after she went missing, there were a bunch of candy wrappers found near a local shed, and that was along the highway. Along with those candy wrappers were a pencil, marker, and a Mickey Mouse shaped hairbow. They were all identified as belonging to her. The investigators believed that Asha had actually prepared on this departure a few days before she actually disappeared, because she packed very specific items. The investigators also believed that maybe she left because of a poor dysfunctional family. Maybe she had issues at school, maybe she was bullied, maybe she was just unhappy. But it really just doesn't make sense, because she was a very young girl. She loved school. She got very good marks, she got very good grades. She was very content, and it just doesn't make any sense, besides the fact that she read The Whipping Boy, and she might have been inspired by this adventure, and she might have thought it might have been a good idea to go on a little adventure. So in the book bag there were very specific items. There was the family photo, black Tweety Bird overalls, a red vest, a black long sleeve top, blue jeans, a basketball uniform, and a black and white long sleeve shirt, a long sleeve white shirt with purple letters. Asha's house key was also in her book bag, so it makes sense that she would have left the house through the front door and locked the door behind her. On August 2001, a contractor found a book bag, and he thought it was Asha's book bag, and he found this on a construction site that was located on Highway 18. So it was later confirmed that it was her book bag, and that's where they found those items. Asha was last seen walking south from her home along Highway 18, but where this man found the book bag on the construction site was actually north from Highway 18. Her bag ended up 26 miles north from her house in the opposite direction. So this doesn't make any sense to why her book bag would be in one place and she was last seen in another. So the contractor that found Asha's bag, it was on the construction site, and that was wrapped in a garbage bag. And a few months later, authorities found a bunch of animal bones, and they also found pants, and that was located near a similar garbage bag. FBI tested results, but they have never reached the surface. Detectives believe that somewhere along her journey, she came across the wrong stranger and met with foul play. And I agree that that is what had happened. A lot of people think that she got inspired by the whipping boy, and I feel like a part of that may be involved. Like, she was inspired to go on a journey, so she decided to walk, and along her journey she met with foul play.
Investigators believe Asha Degree was abducted. Today her family are still hopeful they'll see Asha again.
Cleveland County Sheriff, who told us he could not go into detail, but said investigators are still making progress in this case.
To this day, the family hold a charity walk along Highway 18 to try and raise awareness for their child.
Each year, Asha's family returns to the very place she was last seen, along Highway 18 in Cleveland County, where they've marked her memory with this sign.
I just wish we could find her.
And they don't walk alone, but instead are joined by neighbors, friends.
And they haven't moved from their home. They have kept the same number just in case their daughter returns. And Aquila has said in many interviews that she will always believe that her child is alive out there, and she will always have hope.
As her mother, I just got enough faith in God that if he already had her soul, that he would let us know. So I don't believe she's dead.
I can just keep the hope that she's gonna walk through that door one day. All we got is hope, and I just refuse to let anybody take that away from me.
Like I said before, Asha was a very young, happy girl. She loved school, she had great friends, and she enjoyed going to church. She loved her brother, she loved her family. So it doesn't seem real that she would have just wandered off on purpose because she was upset with her family or with anything else going on in her life. But then again, you really just don't know. You don't know if things were going on in her personal life. No one really knows. So we can't really speculate what exactly happened there. It also just is a bit bizarre that she did pack her book bag days in advance. Maybe she was always thinking about going on a little adventure, but it just is really bizarre that she decides to do it at nighttime and when it is pouring down rain, and there's just been a blackout. So it just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, she's still missing to this day, and I find it really upsetting, and I really hope that this case gets solved one day for the family, because it would be good to have some closure. If you guys would like me to do any more disappearance videos or any unsolved mysteries, then just leave a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed, and I'll be sure to see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching.